Hi, welcome. This year I've read 60 books, so let's rank them all on a tier list. By the end of this video, you'll know which ones are 10 out of 10s, which ones will bring you out of the reading slump, and which ones are low-key regrets. Don't do it, don't waste your time and energy, just don't do it. Let's get into it. To explain the categories, the top one is recommendations. I love those books. Buy physical copy, start a book club. The next one is good time. I've enjoyed reading them and has a bit of a sprinkle of addiction to it. You can't really put that book down. The next one, mid. It's fine. I don't really regret reading it, but I think your time could be put to a better use than that. Not for me, it's for the books. Well, I can appreciate why someone would like those, but it was just not something down my alley. In contrast to the next category, which is regrets. It was really regrets because I really didn't like them. I don't understand why some of them won Nobel Prizes. There will be some controversial opinions, I think, in that category, so let's get into it. The first book is Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. It is a prequel to the Hunger Games and it's told from Haymitch's perspective. There's a lot of name dropping of characters from other books, fast-paced and entertaining. I genuinely loved it. I'm already a fan of Hunger Games. It goes straight to recommendations. Must be done. It doesn't go. Why doesn't it go? Okay, it did it. The next one, it is Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead by Olga Tokarczuk. As you can see, winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature. It should have been good. And I don't know what to do with it. I now have a physical copy. Do I give it away? Does anyone want this? Please take it off my hands. And maybe you'd like it. I mean, clearly there is a prize. I couldn't crack it. Just not for me. Too heavy, too confusing. There's nothing much happening. I feel like me and that book, the styles didn't align. So for me personally, go straight into regrets. Although I did read another book by Olga Tokarczuk, The Imposium, I did enjoy it more. It wasn't amazing. Foggy, atmospheric mystery with a sprinkle of food descriptions and a lot of misogynistic, obnoxious men. I would recommend this audiobook, so we will give it a mid. The next one, On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. At first, the name, On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. Ooh, how poetic. My expectations were somewhere there, and it's also a Vietnamese writer, so I wanted to see, something interesting, something new, a bit of my home country, but it was a bit disappointing. I found it confusing with the themes and storylines jumping suddenly. It's good, but not my favorite, so just going to mid, although I did watch even other book tier reviews and it is rated very highly. The next one is the Dahmer Gut Dream Department Store. I've read the first one and the second one. Look how colorful and fun the cover is. I read it on the beach by the pool, so that's why my scoring of it is a bit biased because I just genuinely had a great time on holiday. The first one I liked more, and the second one felt like a more structured version of the first book. It felt like an escape. It's just a fun, easy book. So for the first one, I'd say it was a good time. Second one, it was kind of mid. Let's move on to the Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I saw billboards of it everywhere and I did give in. I was like, is it good? I hope it is. It was good. When I was writing the review on Goodreads, it felt a bit weird because in the book itself it mentions how the authors read their book reviews on Goodreads. So I was like, ooh, I'm a part of that culture. I don't know how I feel about it. It was fast-paced, made me feel like I'm watching a Netflix show. gave an insight into the publishing industry and exposes the raw edges of it. Yeah, it was a great time. It was a great time. At some points, I just couldn't put it down. The Grand Babylon Hotel. It is by Arnold Bennett. The way I've discovered about this book, I was walking in London, came across this beautiful bookshop, and the whole window was dedicated to that book. And I thought, it must be great if they've decorated and put so much effort for it. It's great. It's a classic, easy to read, fast-paced, and the most classic murder mystery. For me, goes to mid. Good, not great. If on a Winter's Night Traveler by Italo Calvino, fascinating. Such a strange format. I haven't read anything like that. It felt like a collection of stories that were loosely tied together by you and the reader in that book. Go on this journey and you find continuation of previous story. I would say between mid and a good time, but if it's not a strong good time, then it will be mid for me. The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. Oh, the Bible of male performance. There's just so many memes and jokes made about it. You can't escape. However, I've read it, and although there was a bit of a terminology and themes that are a bit out of date and insensitive, I'll be honest with you, I wish I could forget this book and read it again. Goes straight to recommendations. No questions. Annihilation by Jeff Van der Meer. It is a part of a series. I at first picked that book up because the cover is beautiful. The front of it, it's holographic with this really strange animal plant on there, and I was like, fascinating. However, it was a disappointment. The book itself ended too abruptly. There was too many unanswered questions, slow paced, long plot development. I'm not sure if I want to read the rest of the books just to answer the questions. Although I do have to say the quality of writing itself is great, and I love the description of flora and fauna. The author mastered it. But for me, did I like it? Regrets. I'll be honest with you, just regrets. Let's move on to the next one. Is Almaris Jekyll by Emma Glass. The way it is written, experimental as it's mixing prose and poetry, everything was confusing. If anyone read it, can they let me know who Nora is? I couldn't Google it, I couldn't find on Goodreads. Who is Nora? Please let me know. I didn't like it. It will go into regrets. My Year of Rest and Relaxation. That one is written by Atessa Moshfegh. Apologies for any of the surname. English is not my first language, so I'm sorry. Let me Google that one actually. How do I pronounce it?
Atessa Moshfegh.
So, by Atessa Moshfegh. We got it. That book, if a wannabe New York writer wrote The Bell Jar, that's my feeling about the book. I didn't hate it. Entertaining, does lack character development. It is hard to root for someone who is just simply horrible. I wish there was a resolution to the Year of Rest and Relaxation, and the last chapter felt rushed and possibly unnecessary. So that one will go to mid. I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. The reviews that I've seen on Goodreads, highly rated, insightful, so that intrigued me in itself. However, for me, it was a bit disturbing to read. Just okay. Mid. Hi, I'm an idiot because I forgot to record part of this book. Anyways, the cover was Marlboro Reds in frozen blueberries. Really caught my eye. It is about a Korean gay man and how he goes through life, hardships, connections, club nights. Interesting insight, however, I felt like it lacked a cohesive storyline. It will go for not for me. 1,000 Blues by Chon Sun Ran. Again, I read it because the cover was nice. I'll be honest with you, it's easy to trick me. It took me a while to get into it. However, by 2/3 of the book, I started noting down the quotes that I liked. And if you like to see my detailed reviews, please follow me on Goodreads. I'll read you out like 2 sentences, which I thought was like interesting. First one is, new items continuously released into the world, all at different price points. Ye and J couldn't tell if they were manufactured because people needed them or if they became needed because they were manufactured. Interesting point. And as this book is about the dynamics of humans and robots, there's a small snippets where Robert describes how they see humans, and their name is Collie. So here, Collie thought humans were really quite peculiar. Time flowed differently for each person even when they shared the same space. They remembered different things even when they looked at the same thing, and they didn't know how others felt unless they talked to each other about it. Sometimes said one thing but meant another. They seemed intent on using all their energy to constantly hide their true feelings. But otherwise, it's just a mid-book. The next 2 books in here is The Hunger Stone by Kate Dan and Mutual Interest by Olivia Wolfgang Smith. These 2 books I've read as part of the Goodreads challenge for the month of June, the LGBT selection. Let's first start with this one, The Hunger Stone. I'll be honest, it's a chunky book. It really is. Beautiful. Slow at the start, but gets more flavorful in the middle. A lot of blood, a lot of rage. I felt like it should have been saucy. It should have been to it. It was okay. It was quite PG. The next one, The Mutual Interest. If you read the description for that book, it gives it all away. So if you read it, it's not for the plot because it's all in this description. It is for the actual quality of writing. Oh, it's so long. It was so long to read. It took me weeks and reading some books in between just to push myself to finish it. Although I did have my favorite scenes and I love the use of language. For example, nostalgia is all more potent as intoxicant for those who rarely have the opportunity to indulge. Ooh. This one. We here observe a moment of silence memorializing the countless victims of the alcohol-soaked argument of misunderstanding, an Asian ritual with many casualties and no victors. So for Hunger Stone, I would say, I'll be honest, mid or good time, mid, I think. And for Mutual Interest, not for me. Next one is Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers by Jesse Q. Tanto. There's not much to say. Funny, easy to read, put it mid. The next 2 books are written by the same author, Yuketsu. I believe it is an anonymous author and they're also a YouTuber. Both great format with strange pictures. Unusual format, as I say, with pictures in the middle of mysteries, and the whole mystery is based on those pictures. I've enjoyed the last chapter with everything being tied together. The next one, The Strange Houses, I was obsessed. I genuinely couldn't put it down. I've read it in one day. I wish it would just have a family tree drawn out, as there was a lot of name to keep in mind, and at some points I had to go back a couple of pages just to remind myself who they were. Otherwise, I'm really looking forward to the author's next books. Both were, to me, addicting, so that was the definition for a good time. Both go straight to the good time. In Praise of Shadows by Junichiro Tainazaki. Tiny book, a book for one evening. There is transitions from one topic to the other, like moving in the shadows. It gave me a better understanding and appreciation of beauty that shadows create and enhance. It's an interesting one, but I'd say not for me, not very memorable. Gifted by Suzumi Suzuki. Again, it's a short read, maybe for no read with a coffee. A bit depressing, not for me. And we're going into the Japanese literature territory because it is my guilty pleasure. It's easy to read, and these are type of books that get me out of the reading slump. Those short, light Japanese stories, when I can feel that I really can't achieve my reading goals, or I'm just not in the mindset, or that I don't have enough brain power to process anything complicated, I go back to Japanese literature. It's my safe space. What can I say? It's my safe space. Let's start with Somewhere We Crossed Europe in the Rain. Lyrics for Stacy Kent is by Kazuo Ishiguro. It is basically an illustrator and a songwriter coming together to make this book. It gives a background on how a music album was created, and honestly, a joy. Beautiful illustrations, beautiful songs / poetry. Again, for one evening, great experience. Good time. Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. It is a short story to, again, help you with the reading goals. I did enjoy the theme of expectations and fitting in the society and how far you can go to please that society. For me, it's mid. This is my favorite heart-warming section now. Let's start with The Lantern of Lost Memories by Sanaka Hiraji. This small book, easy to read, and it's a proof that a good book does not need to be complicated. Simple, enjoyable, hint of nostalgia. Yeah, I liked it. I had a great time. The Passengers on the Hankyu Line by Hiro Arikawa. A feel-good book if you like intertwining stories to get out of your reading slump. I think a good time or a mid. I would say it's a good time. It looks like we're half in. Yes! And I'm losing my voice because I ain't a yapper. The Kamogawa Food Detectives by Hirashi Kashiwai. Such an interesting premise of a detective to whom people come and they describe the dish that they miss and they describe the importance of that dish. Their detective then goes out, finds all the ingredients, connects all of this, makes the dish which just is exactly what the clients want. Exploration of how food is connected to our most precious memories and people. I had a great time. But would I read it again? Maybe I'll go into mid. Yeah, maybe into good time. The Days at the Morisaki Bookshop by Satoshi Yagisawa. I have a weakness for books about bookshops. I do like it. It's my soft spot. It was comforting and nostalgic, and these kind of books is what gets you out of the reading slump. Also, I've got next book to read by the same author, Days at the Toronka Cafe, and it is signed by the author. How cool is that? I just saw in Waterstones and I immediately had to buy it. What do you mean signed by the author? That's actually so cool. I would say it is a good time. Welcome to the Hyam Now Dong Bookshop by Huang Bo Rum. Again, the same area of book about bookshop. What can go wrong? Nothing. Great time. It describes an ordinary life of people, making this book relatable. I do have a favorite quote from it, and then a life surrounded by good people is a successful life. It might not be the success defined by society, but thanks to the people around you, each day is a successful day. I would put it into mid just because there was not much to it, but still great comfort. But Saltwater by Jessica Andrews, that book was a sensory experience in a way that there were so many descriptions of taste, smell, sound, sight. It really digs up the feelings of nostalgia that you didn't know you had. Loved the descriptions of London, and it felt like they were able to put the words together that I couldn't to describe London. I would recommend it, but it's not I'm obsessed with it, so it's a good time. It goes into the good time tier. Apprenticeship or the Book of Pleasures by Clarice Lispector. Did I read it because it was super tiny book and I needed to complete my goal of 60 books in 2025? Yeah, I did. I just wanted that number of books, I'll be honest with you. The book itself is like tiny, it's just over 100 pages. And did I read it because the author is a Ukrainian baddie that lived in Brazil? Yeah, maybe. Maybe that was the reason too. Anyways, it is an experience, and by the middle of the book, the title made more sense. If I would recommend any book to be taken for quotes, it would definitely be this one. So this is going to a good time. The next two books are by Stephen Fry, Mythos and Heroes. Both I've listened to audiobooks because I found it challenging reading the Mythos book. It felt like a lot of brain power needed, and at that time I just didn't have more than 2 brain cells available. That capacity wasn't there. Hence, those two, I love it. Greek mythology is like a gossip, isn't it? You just get into these dirty stories, dirty gossip. For audiobooks, I had a great time, but would I be very keen to recommend it or just go over it again? Probably not, so both go to the mid section. The next book. The Rivers in the Sky by Elif Shafak. It was so good. It might be my favorite or one of the favorites of 2025. I don't really want to spoil it for you, just get it. I had it as an audiobook, beautiful. And then I saw there's another signed copy when I went to the Welcome Collection in London. Again, how cool, but I will give this copy to my friend who's into books, and I think he's really gonna enjoy this one. I don't want to say anything, just read it. That's it. Goes straight to recommendations. Now we have finished with fiction, and the next two books are autobiographies. Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauna. She is in a band of Japanese breakfast, so maybe that's how you know her. I have to confess, I completely forgot I was not reading fiction and it was all real life. For fiction, it would have been 2-3 stars out of 5, but for real life, that's a 4-star. So for my review, I'll meet it in the middle and give it mid. Walk Through Walls, a memoir by Marina Abramović. This book was recommended by my colleague, and I've never really read autobiographies. It's not really my thing, but this one, extraordinary. I knew about Marina Abramović. I went to a couple of her exhibitions, I think in Mocha Museum in London, and there was like another one in Mocha Museum in Barcelona. So I did know a bit about her, but that raw, charismatic, and really weird. Afterwards, and even now, I keep thinking about it. I would say with this book, the Marina Abramović autobiography, on par with the best book of 2025. Definitely would recommend. It actually haunted me for a while. Impactful, 10 out of 10. Do it, read it. Or audiobook, because she actually voices it. Let's now go into the non-fiction. Starting with Super Communicators by Charles Duhigg. How to Unlock the Secret Language of Connection. I did find it insightful the way they describe the 3 types of communications and how to build on a line on which type 2 people or more are using. It is a practical advice backed by research. However, I found it quite repetitive. It should have been, even though it's not a big book, it should have been shorter. So, mid, just mid. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. We all seen this book by Mark Manson on every bookstore. Like, it's such a popular self-improvement book to read. Generally, I didn't find it too profound. It was entertaining, but I feel like there was nothing substantial in it, so not for me. Next one, we're getting into like mental health space, A Therapeutic Journey by Alain de Botton. I really like the School of Life YouTube channel. In a way, I had high expectations about this book. However, to me, it was just okay. It was concise insight into mental illness. However, I did feel like there was a lot of pressure being put onto the partners as being therapists and being these perfect supportive beings, which I found a bit of a grey territory. Good book, I guess it's just not for me. And maybe that rating of not for me, it was influenced by the fact that I had much higher expectations, having loved the YouTube channel. Happy by Darren Brown. That's right, by the magician. I had the same direction. I was like, he writes books? What is going on? This book was a recommendation from my brother when I was going through. I was a little sad, let's be honest about it. As a physical book, it's huge. It's maybe like this thick. And it was hard to read. However, as an audiobook, so much better. It gave practical ways in which to use Stoic principles. I particularly like the concept of XY axis, where X-axis is our goals and efforts, and Y-axis is kind of life and the external factors. And what we have to understand that our life will be a diagonal line along there, meaning that we have to adjust expectations. I think the adjustment of expectations is the key to happiness. I would put it to good time, definitely. If not, a recommendation, no. Wouldn't leave it a good time, because as a book, too long and heavy. As audiobook, great. How to Win Friends and Influence People. It is such an old book by Dale Carnegie. This book is everywhere in the bookshops, and I understand why. It really stands the test of time. The advice on the communication is still relevant now. Definitely would recommend it to everyone to read. Practical, great. Goes into good time. Atomic Habits by James Clear. Everyone read it. I think everyone in the world has read it, so it was my time to catch up with that too. I don't know how I feel about this book, because I feel like I would have given it much more positive ratings. I haven't read any other self-help books. I would say to me is a 3. It does make it simple and how to incorporate goals into your routine and how to make it easy. Worth a read, but not 10 out of 10, so we'll go to mid. The next 2 books are by the same author of Oliver Berkman. The first one, 4,000 Reads. Yes. Recommended to everyone. The idea I love the most is that we will always have a to-do list, a never-ending to-do list, and the way to live is to prioritize and to accept that we will never be 100% caught up with everything. It did change my perspective. Another lesson that I brought out of it is that never have more than 3 projects at a time. like a serious project, and when you finish one project you can add another one. In terms of efficiency, it really did help, because before, when I had too much going on in my life, too much to focus on, it just wouldn't get done. But the rule of 3 projects, try it. I would say it was a good time. Ooh, or maybe a recommendation. No, it is a recommendation. I love this book and I keep thinking about this book and recommending it. The other one, Meditation for Mortals, it felt like an organic part 2 to the 4,000 Weeks. I found it less impactful, still a good read. I'd say a good time. The next one is Noise, A Flaw in Human Judgment. It has 3 world-renowned authors, Daniel Kahneman, Oliver Sibony, and Cass Sunstein. It is the same author that wrote Thinking Fast and Slow, so again the expectations were it's gonna be a great book. Honestly, not for me. It could have been 80 pages max. It was a lot of repetitive themes. Didn't really find it too practical. Yes, the last chapter was on how to see the noise and control it. I just didn't think it enough. The only aspect I did find insightful is that how much noise there is in the criminal justice system and scale of it. I'd say, honestly, regrets. I wish I didn't read it. It was just a waste of time. How to Read Numbers by Tom Chivers and David Chivers. It is very STEM book. It gives you statistic tools and welcomes you to analyze the news or the data that you come across. I think if you have a STEM degree, it was more of a refresher, but if you don't, this is a good tool to critically think about numbers and what we are seeing and lacking with those numbers. A highlight for me was the Goodhart's law. When a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure. And I think that's a flaw that we see very frequently. This book gave a good point about that. We do need to record unsuccessful studies, not so significant studies, and failed studies, just to give us a better insight into the topic. As I do work in academics and publishing, this was a really interesting point. To me, How to Read Numbers, I'd say mid. Yeah. The next book, and keeping with the theme of statistics, it is May Contain Lies by Alex Edmonds. It gives logical explanations with practical applications. Would recommend it. Definitely would recommend it. So it would be a good time. Interestingly enough, the May Contain Lies includes an example of when a study was misinterpreted and then included in a published book. And this published book is something I read this year too. It's called Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. I was like, oh, interesting point. Initially, the Why We Sleep book, I would say I highly rated it. Now looking back at it, I don't remember much, and I felt it was a bit too long, and ironically it was putting me to sleep. It was just a mid book and apparently not too factually accurate according to May Contain Lies. Pathogenesis, How Germs Made History by Jonathan Kennedy. Please read it. It is a very unusual angle at the world history through the lens of pathogens, and I found it particularly enlightening on how it influenced the inequality and was overlooked for battles and immigration. It's a 5. I would definitely recommend. It is not a usual book you'd see, but please read. Material World by Ed Conway. It explores the 6 raw materials that shape modern civilization. Another great 10 out of 10 book. It has opened my eyes to the material world and really provided the context to the significance as well as how it impacted history. Genuinely the best nonfiction I read in 2025. The audiobook is voiced by the author. If I could ask you to read one nonfiction book this year, please make it Material World. Another small book that I read is by Greta Thunberg. No one is too small to make a difference. Concise message, Listen and act. I would say it was mid. Not much to say about it. White Fragility. Why is it so hard for white people to talk about races? By Robin DiAngelo. I would say it's a good introduction book. Gives tools on how to take criticism and action it. So I would say mid. Let's move on to Invisible Women. Data Bias in a World Designed by Men. Written by Caroline Criado Perez. It is an absolutely must read for everyone. Genuine recommendation. I already did know there was obviously inequality within facilities and within within research, scientific research that it's done on men and women. But this one really opened my eyes on the scale of it and how much data we're actually lacking. Please, this is going to recommendations straight away. The last two books of the nonfiction is The Vast Extent by Lavinia Greenlaw. Cover, I saw it in the bookshop and I thought, wow. Read the blurb, wow. Disappointment. Honestly, it was just disappointment. Not for me. I felt like the text was flowing, but I was not catching that flow. I was not catching that thought. My STEM brain just couldn't comprehend what is happening with the switches and themes and vagueness. It goes to category for not for me. The last one is Photography Decoded by Tate. Wait, maybe I'll do a little close-up. It gives examples and introduction into photography. I did enjoy reading the first part of introduction. However, I did think there was not a much of variety of style of photographs which I was really looking for. But at the same time, you can't really cover a whole genre of photography in just one book. I would say it was not for me. Now let's move on to the section dedicated to Ukrainian books, all the books about Ukraine. And we'll start with Life in Spite of Everything by Victoria Donovan. This is the book. Show the different sides of Ukrainian East and explored it beautifully from the art scene to cults to the early colonial history. Unexpectedly, there was even comparisons to the industrial past of Wales and of Ukrainian East. In particular, I love many photographs that were included in this book and the personal letters from the residents that gave a small insight into their lives. There's many photographs in here, their letters, and I found that beautiful. I've also left my favorite phrase from there in my Goodreads review, so please, you're welcome to follow me on Goodreads. I would rate Life in Spite of Everything to good time. The next three books are in Ukrainian, so if that's not relevant for you, please skip to the next timestamp. Так, почнемо з «Люди на каві» Мар'яна Савка. Я купила цю книжку, тому що такі красиві ілюстрації тут. І мені дуже сподобалося. Така клас, супер. І воно звучало, знаєш, таким легким. «Люди на каві». Я написала про цю книжку, що це атмосферна, сенсорна і красиві ілюстрації. Good time. Так, це піде в good time. Наступна книжка «Босоніч на оливі». Так само купила, тому що красива книжка. І тут навіть є така красива закладочка. Небагато ілюстрацій, але. Я цю книжку купляла і думала, що це буде щось легке, що я зможу прочитати, коли я валяюся десь на сонечку, знаєш, ну щось, щоб відволіктися. Але навпаки. Це дуже важка книга. Там насилля з самого початку і до самого кінця. Я дуже хотіла, щоб там хоча б в кінці був хеппі енд, але такого не було. Отак. І за цього, чесно, тому що хеппі-енду не було, воно піде в мене в мід. І остання книжка мого рейтингу, остання книжка, яка прочитала в 25-му році, це «Повітряна й тривожна книжка», написана Іриною Славінською. Я виписала багато речень з цієї книжки. Я вважаю, що ця книжка дуже душевна і всі її зрозуміють, тому що були в такій ситуації. Наприклад, мені сподобалася частина, коли вона описувала колегу, яка взяла свою червону помаду і поклала в рюкзачок готовності. І навіщо? І така тематика ритуалу прослідковувалася. Наприклад, так само навіть у найстрашніші дні, навіть на окупованих українських землях, люди знаходили сили та снагу для того, щоб розвести вогнище, зварити ранкову каву. Звичний ритуал, якого не хотілося відпускати. Попри обстріли, брак світла, води і опалення. Звісно, мені ніколи не вдасться уявити весь жах тих буднів окупації, але я справді розумію, навіщо триматися за звичні жесті буденності, бо не мають здатність повернути тобі тебе, створити враження чи ілюзію контролю над власним життям. Вона попаде в Китай. Let's wrap up this video. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. My next ideas are how to save hundreds of pounds using public libraries, how to fit in reading into your busy life, and 2026 books I would like to focus on. Do let me know in the comments which books you read that I've mentioned in this tier list, and if you have any recommendations. Thank you. Bye. Wait, I'll do a little hot.